Welcome to the Rogers Kakasungura YouTube channel. There is a tendency that is emerging in Africa and especially from East Africa. I addressed this issue when Tanzania was conducting their general election, that is last year, when Mama Samia Suluhu shut down the internet in Tanzania. And nothing happened to her. Up to now, Tanzanians went mute and nobody's talking about it. They have decided to live with it and stay with it. There's something I spoke and I told you. Other countries are going to benchmark from what Samia Suluhu did. Because African presidents are fond of staying in power forever. When one gets into power, then you wonder, what if the previous president stayed in power? Let me give you an example of Kenya. What if Uhuru Kenyatta decided to stay in power? William Ruto angekuwa president leo? No. Once God has given you an opportunity and your time has come constitutionally to get out, give space for other people because you are also given space. Samia Suluhu shut down the internet when there was elections in Tanzania so that Tanzanians are unable to communicate and they release the atrocities that were committed to innocent Tanzanians. Uganda is holding the general election. And I told you this disease is going to spread across Africa unless and otherwise we the people stand firm and say no. Tanzania had the elections last year. They shut down the internet. Uganda are holding the election this year, that is today. They have shut down the internet. Kenya is holding the general election next year. Guess what is going to happen? The tradition is spreading like bushfire. If we the people cannot stand up and say no to such mediocrity, to such dictatorship, we are headed to the grave. And I'm sure the current president of the Republic of Kenya is worse than Museveni and Samia Suluhu combined. Very dangerous. I foresee the same tradition spreading to Kenya next year if we can't be vigilant. But then, NetBlocks confirmed that live network data show a nation-scale disruption to internet connectivity in Uganda. The measure comes a day ahead of general elections and corresponds to a shutdown notice from the Uganda Communications Commission to mitigate the rapid spread of misinformation. This is what Uganda said. Yeah? Following a strong recommendation from the Interagency Security Committee, the Uganda Communication Commission UCC duly directs all licensed mobile network operations, MNOs, and the internet service providers, ISPs, to implement a temporary suspension of the following services. Number 1, public internet access. Number 2, sale and registration of new SIM cards, outbound data, roaming services to one network area countries. This measure is necessary to mitigate the rapid spread of online misinformation, disinformation, electoral fraud, and related risks. as well as preventing of incitement of violence that could affect public confidence and national security during the election period. This statement gives you an understanding why William Ruto was pushing for cybercrime law amendment bill. Because it will reach next year and the state will raise a press and say the cybercrime law outlaws misinformation and disinformation. Due to that, we have temporarily suspended internet accessibility. That will be next year, August, when we shall be holding our general elections in Kenya. The first paragraph of this, in the main context of the shutdown of the internet, explains why William Ruto was pushing for the strong amendment of the cybercrime law, and they were primarily focusing on misinformation and disinformation, because this one will give them somewhere to anchor themselves when shutting down the internet next year. Watch the space. I'll be here to keep you informed and to remind you what I said about it. The suspension is effective 13 January 2026 and will remain in force until a restoration notice is issued by the UCC. During this period, all non-essential public internet traffic must be blocked. Public internet traffic includes, but not limited to, social media platforms, web browsing, video streaming, personal email services, and messaging applications, among others. The suspension applies to mobile broadband, that is cellular, fiber optic, leased lines, fixed wireless access, microwave radio rings, and satellite internet services. To safeguard public safety, critical nation functions, and the operational integrity of communication infrastructure, a strictly defined exclusion list has been established by the UCC. This exclusion permits continued access to essential services and systems required for network monitoring and management, and is strictly for non-mobile internet services. If operators detect abuse of internet services by the excluded services and systems, immediate suspension is required. Access to these excluded systems must be limited exclusively to authorized personnel and implemented through secure, whitelisted mechanisms, e.g. dedicated IP ranges, VPNs, or private circuits. That is where Africa is headed to. That is where Africa is headed to. If I were a Ugandan, Museveni is supposed to retire, go home, and give advisory to a young government. For heaven's sake, Museveni, you've been in power for close to 40 years. What else are you going to do that you haven't done in your 40 years of governance? Tuseme tu kweli. Which is this new thing that you are planning to do in 5 years before you die? Because I know you will die being the president so that your son can take over, General Muhoozi. That is what you are planning. I know. That is the succession politics. You die being the president so that your son can get access to power, because is the commander-in-chief. Actually, is literally running Uganda on your behalf. I want to ask our people of the Republic of Kenya, Let us be vigilant so that we don't witness the nonsense we saw in Tanzania and the nonsense we are seeing in Uganda in next year's general election. God bless you. See you in the next episode. Asanteni sana.